Vita nostra previes, brevi fini vita nostra previes, brevi fini venimos velociter, rapid nos atrociter, ne minima cetur, ne minima VUT Academia, vivat professores, vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat membrum qual libert, vivat membrum qual libert, sempre sit florere, sempre sit Gautiamus vincitur, juvenes dum sus. Gautiamus vincitur, juvenes dum sus. Os jucundum juventutem, os molestem sedentutem, nos amenitus, nos amenitus.
By the virtue of the power vested in me as an acting Vice-Chancellor and Principal, I hereby declare that this congregation of the Value University of Technology is duly constituted for the diplomas and degrees to be conferred to those students whose names appear on the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a congregation, you are invited to observe a moment as we observe a prayer before we commence with the official program. Can we pray? Dear Almighty, the Omniscient One, we will come before you with all humility to serve you and your people. Please guide us in everything that we say and do. Bless each and every one of us, and bless our institution. Inspire us to strive for that which is good, and not to be self-seeking and serve our own interests. But let everything be done to your glory. Use us as your vessels of honor, so that the fruit of our labor may endure for peace and goodwill towards all mankind. We ask this in your name. Amen. You may be seated.
forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the
Mr. Acting Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome everyone gathered here today to celebrate the achievements of our students. I would like especially to welcome all distinguished guests and members of staff, to all our diplomats and graduates, as well as their families and friends celebrating this very special occasion. Welcome to this long-awaited day. May it be everything you hoped for. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Mabila Matebula. I will read his abridged CV. Mr. Mabila Matebula holds the following qualifications: BA from Northwest University, BA Honours at UNISA, MBA, Mill Park Business School, Postgraduate Diploma in Advanced Project Management from Cranefield College of Project Management. He is currently doing his PhD in Construction Management at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. He is active in a number of professional bodies and was a member of the Transport Research Board with its head office based in Washington, D.C., USA. He was also a member of the Southern African Railway Association Safety Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome Mr. Matebula on stage. Thank you.
The Vice-Chancellor, Master of Ceremonies, esteemed academics, distinguished, beloved graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I feel extremely honored to find myself addressing this gathering today. I last addressed a gathering of this nature at UNISA on the 5th of April 1998. I'm not sure if this is a coincidence or is God's providence, but I believe it is the latter. The question that kept flooding back since I received the invitation was, What have I done to merit an honor like this? In my view, this honor is not so much a tribute to the little work that I've done so far, but to the people of this country who, by their deep sense of responsibility and self-respect, have made this occasion possible. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, pride, I know, is a very dangerous thing, but I must tell you frankly that I have never got over my pride in belonging to this great nation. I don't think any of us has. May I impress upon you that there's greatly no joy for me to see in this twilight of my life that I am seeing fellow South Africans of all ages blazing the academic trails. If you could allow me to muse a little over what I saw. It is not the heights to which a man climbs that matters, but the depth from whence he came. As a result, it would be remiss of me if I judged the graduates by the heights they've reached today, but instead, I'm judging you by the depth from whence you came. You had to brave cold and sleepless nights, at times without food or electricity. You had to face some financial difficulties, workloads, as well as other frequent disappointments, which I need not enumerate. Your hard work has now paid some wonderful dividends, in that when other people were asleep, you were toiling up in the night, burning the midnight oil. According to the old adage, there should be 6 hours of sleep for a man, 7 for a woman, and 8 for a fool. Napoleon Bonaparte believed only in 4 hours of sleep. The Bible also admonishes lazy people by saying in Proverbs 6, verse 6, "Go to the end, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." On this occasion, our hearts are full to overflowing. Our thoughts are turning to this splendid occasion. But let us pause for a moment. Let us think of the tasks that lie ahead of us and the new responsibilities we shall be called upon to shoulder after this graduation. This brings me to Tennyson's lines: "So many words, so much to do, so little done, such things to be." Close quote. What is a degree or a diploma? It is said that to define is to destroy, but to suggest is to create. I move to suggest that a degree or a diploma is a start in one's life. But in the final analysis, what is important is not what you gained in the past, but what you can deliver in order to roll our people uphill. This is just a warning puff of smoke that the fire has been lit, which fire will prove impossible to extinguish. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, let me borrow language from the former British Premier, Benjamin Disraeli. He said in 1855, "Upon the education of the people of this country, the future of this country depends." Close quote. He spoke these words in 1855, but these words are still relevant today. Personally, I prize nothing more precious than education, in that education is costly but priceless. I surmise that all of us had a singleness of purpose, wanting one thing at a time: education. I firmly believe that South Africa has come to the realization that education is a necessity which has to be pursued energetically, since it is the only weapon in our armory to fight inequality, poverty, as well as unemployment. Education is a gift that should not be taken for granted. Few of us know that slaves were not allowed to read and write. When we ban schools, when we ban libraries, when we ban lecture halls, we don't actually understand that this education came at a price. For example, Booker T. Washington was born into slavery in 1855. In his moving autobiography, he captures the scene succinctly. "I had no schooling whatever while I was a slave, though on several occasions I went as far as the schoolhouse door with one of my young mistresses to carry her books. The picture of 7 dozens of boys and girls in a classroom engaged in a study made a deep impression. And I had the feeling that to get into the schoolhouse and study in that way should be about the same as paradise. Close quote. The long frustrated wish of emancipation was to first acquire education, not want to work for them. South Africa must reaffirm the value of hard work. To build a democratic South Africa in a true sense, a task in which we must throw ourselves wholeheartedly, is to build the character of our people, to build an attitude of mind which will enable us to live and work harmoniously together. This university is very important in my view, and those who go through it should be important too. It is also important to know that the walls of these universities will not confine you for life, since these are not walls of shame, but walls of progress. One of the great tasks that face our country, none is more important than the provision of ethical leadership in every aspect of our national life. There is a plethora of theories on what leadership is and what leadership is not. Some leadership gurus have posited that leaders are born, not made. But this phrase is a deceptive half-truth. There's no man living whose qualities of leadership cannot be improved and developed by training, which this university is good at. Leadership has many aspects, but most of all, it is a quality of the mind which establishes a man among his fellows. The ability to think logically, the capacity to express oneself clearly and consciously, that mastery of his or her job which enables him or her to understand fully the implications of his decisions. All these are the hallmarks of a competent leader. As a graduate from this university, you must be like the yeast in the loaf, effective enough because it cannot be isolated. Its present known by the work it has done. Simply put, you must be the torchbearers of our societies, as well as the protectors of the flame, should we, in our agency, endanger its brightness. The heroes of the future will be those who can lead South Africa out of the stifling fog of disintegration into the valley of light, where purpose, endeavor, and determination will create that brotherhood which His Holiness Jesus the Christ proclaimed 2,000 years ago, and about which so much is said, but so little done. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, the graduate from this university will go and apply their learning in the workplace. At whatever level you operate in the service, the need for objectivities will be of paramount importance. And as a society, we have got the right to demand it of those who have educated, and also to dispense with those who are unwilling or unable to apply their intelligence to the problems of building our country. South Africa cannot afford passengers in our public service. Our service must be efficient and imbued with a sense of the agency of our country, of which our country needs. The senior posts cannot be used as if they were rewards for the past efforts. They must be filled by those who can make a particular contribution for the collective good of the country. In placing and retaining individuals who have to consider and who are going to play an important role in building the country. People who are going to add value to our country. Remember that if you don't add value, you add costs. Your education will be sterile if it didn't help your people in their hour of need. South Africa has great expectations. We want doers of great thoughts and thinkers of great deeds. We need doers of great deeds and thinkers of great thoughts. All our hopes are hinged upon you towards the realization of the sustainable developmental goals. I have to admit that the road to construction on which South Africa has embarked on is a new road, parts of whose topography are only hazily sensed. Other parts are still unknown. A certain amount of trial and error in following the road is inevitable. Mistakes we are bound to make, and some, undoubtedly, we have already made. They are our own, and we must learn from them. Our aim is the building of South Africa in which the principle of serving humanity will be paramount. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, our priority is clear and inescapable. We have got a revolution to carry out in South Africa. We have to make the fundamental change in the conditions under which our people live. This is what revolution means, and bloodshed is irrelevant to it. There is no shortcuts, no easy solutions which can be applied to the problem of developing our country. Slogans will not give our people food to eat. Slogans will not, on blaming other people, will not actually improve us. We have got no alternative but to apply ourselves scientifically and objectively to the problems of our country. The brute force of our people's strength will not be sufficient to reach the top. That strength has to be combined with the scientific use of every atom of skill in steering and coaxing the engine, in changing gears and in applying the brakes and the accelerator at the right time. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I come from the corporate environment, and I've observed over the years that we hire people for their qualifications, but we fire them for their attitude. It is important for graduates to develop both emotional and spiritual intelligence. By spiritual intelligence, we mean the intelligence with which we address and solve problems of meaning and value. The intelligence, and the following are the indications of a highly developed SQ, or emotional or spiritual intelligence. The capacity to be flexible, a high degree of self-awareness, a capacity to face and use suffering, a capacity to face and transcend pain, the quality of being inspired by vision and values, a reluctance to cause unnecessary harm, a tendency to see the connection between diverse things, a marked tendency to ask why or what-if questions and seek fundamental answers. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, some people might say that it was good luck that has brought us today. No, it was not luck. It was hard work. Nothing ever comes to one that is worth having except as a result of hard work. No matter how hard life gets or how many setbacks you may come, just remember the words of the 30th President of the United States, Calvin Coolidge, and I quote, "Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Close quote. Thank you very much for the courtesy with which you have listened to me. I take this opportunity in congratulating you, your parents, your sponsors, your lecturers, in achieving your goal. And I thank you.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, it is my honor to present to you candidates of the Vaal University of Technology Secunda Campus whose names appear on the program for receiving of diplomas and degrees. In the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, for the National Diploma Engineering Chemical, Gladla M.S. Mabuza V. Matabula B.N. Monyatabene N.A. For the National Diploma Engineering Electrical, Dlamini S.S. Lebopo A.K. Lepoto T.B. Letuka K. Magagula S.B. Masilela J.E. Masinga L.L. Molefe S.K. Moloto P.K. Mtsweni B.S. Nkosi Z.M. Shabangu P.G. Samilane L.M. For the degree Baccalaureus Technologiae Engineering Chemical, Governor N.P. Hadebe S.E. Nkachwa M.S. Mokwena M.V. Sikakane S.S. For the degree Baccalaureus Technologiae Engineering Electrical, Gare TC. Mashlangu VJ. Ndwandwe SL. In the Faculty of Human Sciences for the National Diploma Safety Management, Dlamini NP. Dlamini TT. Duma OBL. Leluma MM. Mabopa M. Makuvele SJ. Magudu Lela NV. Mashlangu MN. Maseku SS. Wait. Mbuyane TT. Nisi LS. Nsisa PT. Mtsweni MC. Musha Yavatu N. Nkongwane JB. Nkwanyana SJ. Rangwaga TJ. Samilane SH. Sitole PS. Mugeri K. Chabangu KR. For the National Diploma, Cost and Management Accounting, Masina P. Mslanga AC. Molepu LN. Omar YS. Simangu JA. Similane NC. For the degree Baccalaureus Technologiae, Cost and Management Accounting, Valoy T. Sengakana SM. Zaba BC. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I hereby request that you confer the diplomas and degrees in absentia on those students whose names appear on the program but could not be present today.
I hereby do confer the diplomants and graduates whose names appear on the program but could not be present at this congregation.
I thank you, Mr. Vice-Chancellor.
Choir, please, take me home.
Sowing in the shadows, fearing night at last. she brings, by and by the harvest, and the labor ended, we shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give them another big round of applause, please? I'm told that our choir is the second best university choir in the country. It comes after those of you who have been to the Vice Chancellor's office, you could see as you enter the number of trophies almost on all the shelves. That's the work that they do. They are the best. They are the pride of VUT. Give them a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, good afternoon. As I perform my last task for today, my task for now is to acknowledge your presence on this special as well as very auspicious occasion today. First and foremost, I would like to start with our choir. Our choir, which is the best, as I've said, it's conducted by Mr. Vumile Nonyama, who's the choir master. He is the one who actually is doing all this work, coordinating this work together with the choir. Let's give them a round of applause, although they have parents who sometimes even in the evenings. So let's acknowledge the spouses for their support. Thank you. Also amongst us, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our grandparents here. Those are the very important people in our lives. I always say that if you are graduating when your grandparents are still alive, count yourself lucky and blessed. Let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank them for their spiritual support and guidance that they give to their grandsons and daughters. I want also to thank them for their spiritual support that they give to this management of the university. Once more, let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I would like to acknowledge our student representatives. These students representatives play a very important role. They work together with the management. They are the eyes and ears of the students. All students' concerns are raised through SRC, and then they present those challenges to management, and together with management, they work together to try and solve those problems. Today, I want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Andile Ndlovu. Mr. Andile Ndlovu, may you please stand up so that they can see you, our parents can see you. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a big round of applause. I'm not too sure whether this is the SRC here, present. May you please stand up, ladies and gentlemen, so that they can see you. Thank you. May I say this, that we really thank you for supporting management, for working together with management to ensure that the university stabilizes, the university's activities, as well as teaching and learning, goes smoothly unhindered. We thank you very much. Also, ladies and gentlemen here, I would like to acknowledge the very important person, especially at Secunda, Dr. Sia Falyun. Dr. Sia, who is the head of academics at Secunda Campus, may you please stand up so that they can acknowledge you. Also, working with him, you've got esteemed academics and HODs who work together with Dr. Siaf to make sure that academic activities takes place, to make sure that we've got such products today that you see, that you evidence yourself. I would like the HODs as well as all the academics to stand up, and let's give them a big round of applause. Please stand up. To parents, guardians, grandparents, these are the people who work tirelessly to shape and mold your sons and daughters. Today, as they've crossed the stage, they are the products of these academics. Once more, let's give them a big round of applause. Also, I'm accompanied by my colleagues in executive management. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Willem Pinaar, who is a head of department electronics engineering. He's representing the executive deans, Professor Ndege, who could not be here. Mr. Pinaar, could you please stand up and quick round of applause? Thank you, Mr. Pinaar. Also, I've got Mr. Neo Masudubela, who's the acting chief financial officer. This is the person who looks after our monies. This is the person who pays all of us here. Mr. Acting Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Neo Masudubela, please stand up, please. He might be short, but when it comes to money, he's very long. Thank you. Also, colleagues, you might have noticed that this event has run smoothly without any glitches. There is a host of colleagues, my colleagues, who worked tirelessly 2 or 3 months before this event took place to plan for all the logistics, to plan that we've got everything in place so that the event runs smoothly. I would like to acknowledge the external public relations team, which is led by Mrs. Zelda Kotze. She's here amongst us. She worked together with the Secunda team to make sure that this event takes place on time and as smoothly as it is today. Can you please give them a big round of applause? Also, Deputy Registrar, may you please stand up, ladies and gentlemen, give them a big round of applause. Also, we've got the Registrar's team. You might have probably, especially the graduands and diplomandis, on the first day when you registered at VUT, those are the people who took your biographical details, They make sure that they registered you for the right cause. They make sure that they kept your marks up until such time it comes to a stage where they tell you that you will be graduating. That registrar's team is led by the senior Deputy Registrar, Mr. George Mafukeng. Mr. George Mafukeng, may you please stand up. You might have seen him. He's the one who was roping you as you pass on stage. Also amongst us here, we've got members of the media. We've got members from the business community. We've got donors, we've got sponsors. I acknowledge your presence. And last, I would like to acknowledge in our midst the Acting Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Raymond Mabuza. I want to thank you for availing yourself, Acting Vice Chancellor, to preside on this special and milestone event for our institution today. I thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
I was no more sure of when to stand up because our program has been manipulated a bit. So we apologize for us giving you the program where the ceremonial events came up, but some of them are not appearing there. So we apologize for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for accompanying our diplomands and graduates. They are here now, and as you look at them, they are now graduates. VUT became your world to a better future. I'm talking to you, our students. It opened your mind to a world of possibilities. That is what it does every day. Now all you need is to open your mind to the impossible. During your life at VUT, you made new friends and enemies along the way. You met people whom you fell in love with and people you started to hate. Maybe the lecturers. Your career will take you through unknown twists and turns, but your education will be the pillar you can always lean on. The power of education cannot be measured unless you count its power to create a career and pave the way for a better future. To succeed in life, all you need is to align your education with your skills, goals, and dreams. Of course, we all dream, but it depends on what kind of a dream. Go ahead in life to achieve your dreams, but do not forget the reasons and the people who made your journey of education worth the trouble. Your degree is not just a piece of paper, but it is the set of wings that will help you fly away and burst out of the horizon into a new world called your life. You may be graduating today, but you were a winner in our eyes since the very beginning of your career at VUT. Today you are graduating because you believed in yourself and VUT. To conclude my congratulatory message, I found it proper to relate to you this story that thrilled me so much that I would like to share with you. It goes as follows. A group of frogs were hopping contentedly through the woods, going about their froggy business, when two of them fell into a deep pit. All of the other frogs gathered around the pit to see what could be done to help their companions. When they saw how deep the pit was, the rest of the group agreed that it was hopeless and told the two frogs in the pit that they should prepare themselves for their fate, because they were as good as dead. Unwilling to accept this terrible fate, the two frogs began to jump with all of their might. Some of the frogs shouted into the pit that it was hopeless and that the two frogs would not be in that situation if they had been more careful, more obedient to the froggy rules, and more responsible. The other frogs continued sorrowfully shouting that they should save their energy and give up, since they were already as good as dead. The two frogs continued jumping as hard as they could, and after several hours of desperate effort, were quite weary. Lay down at the bottom of the pit and died as the others looked on in grief. That became so very difficult. And your friend said, "We told you. Why did you go for that one? You know that always only 3 or 4 guys pass. What did you want there?" But eventually, you are here today. And may God bless you. Use your qualification. Don't be fired, as we heard today, that you are fired for your attitude, but you are hired for your qualification. May God bless you as we depart this hall. We will rise and sing the national anthem.
Victoria.
by virtue of the power vested in me as an acting Vice Chancellor and Principal, I now dissolve the congregation of the Valley University of Technology.
Sana